Hey y'all, what's up? You are tuned in to a new episode of Rumorville TV. Get on in here and sit down. Act like you got a little sense.
And now I know what Tyler Perry knows. I know what Lee Daniels knows. I know what Oprah knows. I know what Steve Harvey knows. I know what Charlamagne the God knows. I know what Necklet knows. Saying yes to Monique is an occupational hazard.
Ignore this little stain or whatever this is on my shirt, child. Ignore that. That ain't none of your business. Just ignore that. Okay? Now let's get into this shit. So, DL is talking. Okay? You heard him say, fooling with Monique. I said fooling. Fooling with Monique is an occupational hazard. That's what he said. I ain't say that he said that. Now, we're going to get into some shit. Okay? Because DL said he never talked to Monique at the venue. So she had such an issue with not being a headliner, all this other shit, but she never came to him and said anything. So what I think happened, and I'm just speculating because, I be minding my business. So if she had an issue with, the contract that her and Daddy put together and presented to the promoters, then she never addressed it with him. I said, uh-oh. And he said he ain't seen Monique in years. So she made a comment that DL came and put his feet under her table. And he said, yes, that is true. At her request, he said he was doing a show and she was hosting a fight party. So he went to the fight party because she lives in Maryland and that's around the place where he was doing the show. So he went and he basically kicked it at her house with her people. And he said it was cool. And he was like, based on that situation and him saying, I'm not going to judge what other people's experience of you is, and I'm not going to lead with that for myself. That's what he said. He said, I'm going to give her a chance. So that's why he said, okay, after I declined working with you several times, I said, okay, I'm going to give you a chance. And he said, it's an occupational hazard. Now, he said, what does his dog, his wife, or him have to do with the contract? Now, everybody is up in arms about this contract situation. Let me break this down. So Monique's contract is one thing. DL's contract says another. Monique's contract says she's the headliner. DL's contract says he's the headliner and he arranges the lineup of the show. And he the highest paid. Let's not forget that. So even if Monique's contract said that she was supposed to be the closer or the headliner, DL's contract trumps hers because DL's situation says that he organizes the show. See what I'm saying? Okay. In addition to the fact that her and Daddy put together this contract, this is a contract that they submitted to the promoters. I'm not saying the promoters did the right thing by just signing it and moving forward because that's wrong, but it's not necessarily DL's fault that this situation is happening. And I don't know why it's such a big deal to her, whether you're the headliner or not. But I guess in the comedy space, that's a big deal. Because if you remember back maybe a month or two ago, Godfrey was having the same issue with T.I. So Godfrey was doing a show and he was closing. He was the headliner of that show, which means he was supposed to be the last comedian on. And then T.I., last minute was like, hey, can I get up there and do my, a 15, 20-minute set or whatever, what have you. And typically in comedy, that's disrespectful. So I see why she wanted to be the headliner. But as DL says in this video, it's not about what you've done. It's about what you're doing. And you being the queen of comedy 20 years ago, it doesn't translate to today because the last thing you did was basically nothing. I don't understand why Monique is having an issue to understand that. She keeps bringing up these awards and the fact that she was on the Queens of Comedy tour. She was the headliner of that tour. Baby, that was 20 years ago. We're in a whole different space. There are people who don't even know who you are. There are people who are still calling you Miss Parker, honey. Me in particular. And I think she was snapping and the promoters was just like, we just gonna throw this off on DL because he technically arranged the show. So we gonna get this crazy lady off our back and we gonna throw it on DL. And then that's when she went on stage. And I think she just spewed what she was feeling because she was upset. And I think that was very dangerous, unprofessional, and wrong of her because it sets the tone to say when things don't go your way, you publicly assault people. It's not okay at all, especially when you assault a fellow nigga. DL said, when you set shit on fire and you sit back and watch it, you're an arsonist. And he ain't lying. He is not lying. Now, I didn't realize that she had talked about his dog. So DL has a what we classify as an emotional support dog. And the reason he has his dog is because after his father passed, he had a rough time with his father passing. He loved his dad, and his family recognized that. So they got a dog that was from the same either hometown or area that his father is from. And he named the dog after his dad so that he can feel like his dad is with him all the time. And so Monique kind of made reference like, what kind of nigga walks around with an emotional support dog? Like, it's just, she called him a bitch ass nigga. This is just a brief recap. She called him a bitch ass nigga. She talked about the man dog. She called him a coward, and she said she feels sorry for his wife because his wife has to suck a coward's dick. What? Who says this kind of shit about people? And then she also said, well, you know what kind of man he is. His name is DL. So that is why he keeps spelling out his name in these posts where he's talking shit about her, because she insinuated that he was like down low, DL. And that's why he's spelling out his name, Daryl and Hughley, when he's never done that before. Quick recap. So he also says, I don't blame you. I wish you well. And I said, baby, whenever somebody tell you that, when they tell you they don't blame you, they wish you well, they are done with your ass. Done. In the black community, when somebody say, I wish you well, they wish you well, but they wish you would get the hell on too. That's what that means. God, so this was funny to me. And I know Monique got to be in her feelings about what I'm about to say. Because when I heard it, I screamed. And it was early in the morning, and people in my house, they would sleep, but they got up because they heard me screaming. He said, you gonna post a contract that you and daddy wrote? That's funny to me. But it is a contract that her and daddy wrote, because Hicks Media Inc. is her and her husband. Right. So DL said, that's not daddy. You pay for, that's not a daddy. You paying for the nigga that you sleep beside every night. That's a son. Yikes. I said, not Nicki Minaj. These bitches is my son. Jesus Devontae Christ. And then he said, also, when you wreck and burn, you are not a queen of comedy. You are a queen of ashes. Damn. But he's not wrong. He is not wrong, because her bringing up Steve Harvey and Tyler Perry and Lee Daniels and Oprah and all these people during that 12 to 15 minute rant of a 45-minute set, mind you, had nothing to do with this contract that her and daddy wrote. It seems like you and daddy not doing business the way y'all need to handle business. That's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like it all boils down to the fact that you and daddy not handling business, even down to the Lee Daniels and Oprah bullshit. Now, I'm not saying that Monique was wrong in those situations, because we all know that she was right, but it's not about who's right or wrong. It's the way you handle adversity, honey. And you don't handle adversity well. You handled it, you mishandle situations, and it puts a bad taste in people's mouth. DL said he getting back to work, and he gonna let Monique get back to her kingdom of smoke. Baby, I said, well, if there was ever a mic drop, that was one. I like Monique. I think she's funny. I think she's always been funny. I hate the way she handles situations, but she better get it together and quick, because I'm gonna tell you who not finna fool with her. 50.
My name is Golden. You know who the fuck I am.
Now, if you think DL Hughley has some shit to say, burn 50. 50 Cent, he's a different kind of nigga. He on the Kanye side of niggas. And you seen what Kanye did. Kanye had DL Hughley whole address out here in the world. Monique, I love you for real, but you fucking up. You and daddy are fucking up. If you like my commentary, please hit the like button, drop down in the comments, share, and subscribe so that every time I upload, you can be notified and you can meet me right back here. And before you know it, girl, we're going to be the best of friends. Until next time.